We are live and in color. Oh my gosh. The champ is here for another amazing episode. Yes. Intimate Discoveries, Unveiling Connections, a podcast redefining the dialogue on intimacy and connections in modern relationships. In a world flooded with fleeting interactions and surface level engagement, Intimate Discoveries aims to bridge the gap, fostering deeper connections and understanding. Each episode delves into the heart of intimacy, dismantling myths and unveiling truths about the complex dynamics of relationships. Through engaging conversations with relationship experts, heartfelt real life stories, and groundbreaking insights, we challenge and expand your perception of closeness and commitment. Whether you're navigating the rocky paths of a struggling relationship, contemplating the complexity of divorce, or seeking to strengthen the bonds of your marriage, Intimate Discoveries offers a compassionate, insightful, and transformative journey into the essence of human connection. Let's go!
They said I wouldn't make it, but I'm here now. And I'm here to stay, never go down.
Yes! Because I'm a champion!
A champion.
Man, let me tell you something. We are about to.
A champion.
Yes, the champ is here. Yes. I got my friend Rebecca that's coming on. You know, I got Legacy coming in, and I got Golden on, and we're gonna tap into a new level, and we're about to go for it right now. Yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, thank you, everybody. Love on me. The champ is here. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, Rebecca. Welcome, Rebecca. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Franklin.
Oh,
How are you?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. We want to give you a round of applause for coming on board.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, and I see we got JC on her. Who JC's blessed. I know that she's new. But we want to welcome her to the show. If she's listening in, that's great. And so, how's everything been going? Happy Mother's Day,
Thank
to
you.
you, and all the other mothers out there. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you all,
Right, right.
right? You all carried us for 9 months. I carried you. Yeah. So today, we're starting a new pivot, right, in intimacy, and what we're talking about is vulnerability and physical intimacy. And this is the very first episode, and we're bringing you on board to tell us, to share some of your perspectives on vulnerability. And I know we talked about well, let me stop right there. How do you see vulnerability, and how does that connect with, or how do you see it? Tell me your perspective, Rebecca.
I see vulnerability as the ability to be vulnerable with your partner, to share things that you normally wouldn't share with, other individuals. So I see vulnerability as that stage where you know that you're safe, right? You
Hmm.
have a safe space, and I guess all of your Maslow needs are fulfilled. And then you can be vulnerable when you know you have all those things in place. You can be in a place to be vulnerable with your mate.
Yes. And how does um physical intimacy, how does vulnerability, the lack of vulnerability, impacts physical intimacy?
I feel that the lack of vulnerability impacts it because you're never gonna reach your full ecstasy or full potential because you can't be vulnerable,
Hmm. And so
right?
when you're right, you're absolutely right. And so, um, but but are there like um barriers, or are there like, yeah, barriers, or like, like a, like, what do we call it, um boundaries for vulnerability and physical intimacy?
There are boundaries for vulnerability and physical intimacy, but those boundaries are set to me where your
Mhm.
mindset is at the time, or the level of physical intimacy that you're at, or vulnerability that you're at. So wherever that level is, that's where it stops.
Mhm. Yeah, and as you were talking, and I am listening. As you were talking, I saw the boundaries of vulnerability on the outside of that intimate relationship,
Correct.
right?
Mhm.
It's only the boundaries, because most of the time, oftentimes when I said it, I was looking at the vulnerability, the boundaries that are set on the outside, on the outside, to keep the other person from being vulnerable. That was the boundary that we were setting, right? Or what level, to what degree am I vulnerable with you? Is there a degree that I can be, or I should not be vulnerable with you? Is there a degree to that? And
I
I found, go ahead. Hmm.
No, there is a degree, right? But again, if you don't have everything that you feel like you need from your mate, right? So I would say then you don't have that safe space, because a safe space means you can discuss anything, right? So
Right.
if you don't have that, or a person puts certain stipulations on you, your partner, that you don't agree with, right? Then your that physical intimacy part goes down.
And okay, tell me more.
So like, for instance, for myself, I was utilizing the tools that I've learned about the safe space, right?
Hmm.
However, when you have situations, safe spaces, whoo, that's it's great, and it's challenging, and it's difficult, right?
Hmm.
Because whatever you're discussing to your mate, right? The
Hmm.
communication that you guys are having, they have to have the ability to totally understand what you are communicating to them, right?
Hmm.
Because
Right.
you have a perspective, they have a perspective, right? But at but your perspectives at some point got to align together,
Hmm.
because it has to. So if your mate isn't understanding you, or let's say your mate put boundaries on you, right?
Hmm.
But it's not reciprocity, because let's say they didn't set the same boundaries for themselves that they posed on you, right?
Mm.
And so
Mhm.
you're adhering to what they pose on you, but then you find out that their expectations or what they imposed on you, they're not living by, they're not reciprocating the same thing, right? So
Right. So what happened? Hello? Did Did you get muted? Unmute? Hello? But anyway, yeah, so you have a very good point, Rebecca, and it becomes challenging.
Yeah, baby.
Yo,
Oh my
yo,
God.
what's
Here
up?
to stay. So
Oh
today,
my gosh!
ladies and gentlemen,
Hey, are you
the
listening to something
champ.
else? Oh, I know how to do that. I know how to do that. I know how to do that. Look at there. Watch that. You put it on pause, right? I was trying to figure out what was going on.
Oh my God, ladies and
Um,
gentlemen, we are bringing it.
and for some reason, she's still playing that. Another dynamic podcast. But as we were talking about the vulnerability and reciprocity, and it was great that you brought that up because um, it is it is a challenge for us to be able to one allow that person's perspective to be in aligned with our perspectives, right? And so um, and how do you do that? How do you help your partner's perspective be in line with your perspective? That's a rhetorical question. If somebody, raise your hand if you think that how do you or how do you um allow your partner's perspective to be in line with your perspective? And for those, the answer to that is, and the way that you do that is that you do not, that, no, 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 no. The way that you do that is that you agree with their perspective, that you look for a reason to agree with their perspective, right? Unless it's, and I always put this caveat out there, unless it's illegal, immoral, unethical, causes self harm or harm to others, let that person have their perspective, right? They're not creating committing a crime. They're not causing harm to anybody. They're not rude to anybody, and they're just sharing their perspective on how they feel about a particular situation or issue, right? And if you're able to make that change or that correction or that adjustment, then you can do that. But it's important that when your partner is sharing their perspective, that in an intimate relationship, you have to allow that person to share their perspective. And my thing is, look for a reason to agree. Or if you don't look for a reason to agree, definitely do not sit there and look for a reason to disagree. Because their perspective, matter of fact, I always say you can't bring their perspective will never be in your life. That's number one. It's never going to be in your life. And then here's the second thing, that whatever their perspective is on a particular subject, you can't bring that to the present. It's not going to even be in our room. You can't do it. And so let that person have whatever they're going to say, and move on. Hey, Legacy,
Hey,
how's it going?
good evening. Good evening. Sorry for the tardiness. Of course, everybody under the sun was trying to call me as we're
Hmm.
supposed to jump on board, but it's good to be here with you two. Thank you, thank you,
Hmm.
thank you.
Yes, welcome, welcome. Oh, we got to give you some claps because Legacy be bringing it.
Woo!
So Rebecca was talking. Hold on.
Okay.
Thank you, all, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi,
Ow.
Rebecca.
Hi,
Rebecca, you
Legacy.
back up.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad. I hope you're doing well today.
I am. I am.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Rebecca was talking. We were talking about vulnerability and physical
Mm-hmm.
intimacy, and um, where does the boundaries end and begin?
Mm.
Right.
Where do the boundaries end and well begin and end and begin? Hmm.
Right.
Okay.
When you talk about the degree in which you're being vulnerable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where does that start, right? Hello, Golden.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
Golden.
ladies.
Hi, Golden. How's everyone doing?
My heart is swelling right now. So, Go ahead, Rebecca. Let's want to hear what you were saying again.
Yeah, give us a synopsis so we know where to go from. I know it was good.
Well, I was saying that, I had a situation this week myself in a relationship that I'm currently in,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whereas I was pretty much given boundaries by my significant boyfriend. He had these boundaries that I need to do with my male friends, right?
Ooh.
So, and in saying that, okay, well, it's reciprocity. If I'm going to pose these boundaries with people that I'm close to and I know, and it's really not a threat to you, but you're imposing these boundaries on me to give to people that I respect and I'm really really close with, then I'm gonna, in my mind, right,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing that already, or you're gonna reciprocate what you're asking me to do, right? So then I find out, and I don't know why. I just asked a question, and then it was like, well, my ex texted me this at 1:36 in the morning, but his response, the way he want me to respond to my male friends, wasn't the way he responded to his ex, right? So that in itself became difficult for me, right?
Mm,
Because oh, I did this to my friends, but
mm-hmm.
but the way you're delivering is an open-ended situation, whereas the door is open and something else is going to happen within that conversation, because I read what the conversation was. So I know it's an open ended and the person is going to come back. But you're not telling that person you're in a relationship, but you want all my male friends to know that I'm in a relationship and that I need to put certain boundaries on them. So in that aspect right there, the vulnerability is going to drop, right? The physical intimacy for me ain't I mean, that's going to drop, because until we get on the same page and you realize what you post on me and you not doing it yourself, and until you take responsibility for what you did and understand how you made me feel, and we get on one accord and one page, that is difficult to move forward with anything else for me. It's just that's very difficult. So it was like we was on vacation. He was like out on the balcony listening to music, watching the water, and I was sitting in the living room. It was very uncomfortable. Like, it was uncomfortable the whole night. And it was uncomfortable the next morning. And I'm the type of person that typically I'm like, we can pack up, let's go, take me to my house. That's how I usually handle things. But I said, no, I'm gonna try to use this, say I'm gonna stick with these tools I learned, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this. And it took maybe 5 hours for him to feel good through our conversation and us getting to understand each other, and what he's going to do going forward and what I no longer have to do going forward and he no longer have to do, for us to feel a connection again.
Mm.
Mm.
This wow. Somebody else. Go ahead, Legacy.
Yeah, that it reminds me. Ooh, Lord, I had an ex who, when we started dating, and he was, I'm a city girl. He's a city gal. He's a country dude, and I have a lot of male friends. I lived in communities in New York where in neighborhoods where it was mostly male children, not a lot of girls, and so I'm accustomed to having a lot of male friends. Um, I have fraternity brothers. I have Christian big brothers from church, or my brother-in-law or my brother's friends, and that I'm close to as well. And he was like, "Well, you need to get rid of all your friends, your male friends, if we're going to be together." I said, "Excuse me." I was
Right.
like, "Wait, what?" And I said, no, I'm not going to do that." And
Right.
he just really couldn't understand. And I said, "Okay, one, most of my friends live in New York or in other states. So it's not like I have like this bestie that I'm hanging out with and going out for brunch and we going to the club or anything like that. Like we talk on social media some. We might talk on the phone once a year. Others, I do have a friend who's like my best friend from college, and we do text and talk. But when I was married, and so he understands the parameters and the boundaries. He's a married guy, and so I understand the boundaries and the parameters and stuff as well. And I said I can't do that. I said I come from a very sociable family. I said my dad has always had female friends. My stepmoms have male friends. Like my mom grew up with a bunch of guys who were her brother's friends that are like my uncles. I grew up with a lot of men in my circle. And I said, but I know the ground that I stand on. If I'm in a relationship, I'm in a relationship. That's it. But that's interesting that he felt it was okay for you to set yourself some boundaries and guidelines for your male friends, but he wasn't willing to do that for his friends. And mine, he just felt like I shouldn't have them at all. And
Yeah.
then because he never met any of them, I said, well, since I've moved south, haven't even seen any of them. I said, because they're either in New York or other places, Maryland, DC, they're in other states, Virginia. I don't see them like that. And, so we didn't, it didn't work for other reasons, not even that. And I said, so if things didn't work between us, which they didn't, I
Hmm.
said, then do I I can't go back to my friends and say, hey,
Right, right.
can you
That's
be
what I
my
said,
friend
Legacy. I
again?
said that. I
You
told
know,
him that.
I'm like, they would look at me like I'm crazy. Like, if
Right,
you don't get off my phone,
right, right,
if
right.
they didn't call you something off the name, 'Cause listen, I might have had to try to do that. I would be looking at you like, huh? What? No. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to applaud Rebecca for sticking to the principles of an intimate relationship, right? And knows that is intimacy is defined as a level of commitment, positive, effective, cognitive, and physical closeness that one experiences with a partner in a reciprocal relationship, right? And we know that there are four variations. There's cognitive intimacy, which is sharing thoughts and feelings with sharing thoughts with another person. Emotional intimacy is deeply rooted in sharing feelings and emotions, and deeply rooted in self disclosure, right? And then there's sexual intimacy, which is choosing to share one's body in the form of sexual contact or just other physical contact, right? And then there's spiritual, which is sharing thoughts about religion and morality. And for you to, the part that I wanna highlight is the reciprocity part, making sure that that person reciprocated. If that person didn't reciprocate, then I'm pulling back, right? That
Right,
you're not going to expect me to hand you $15 and then you hand me
right,
$4 worth of goods. No, this is a reciprocal relationship. Now, if you're only doing ones, I'm only doing ones. And right? No, we know. No, can you give me I want a whole, I want a 20. Don't give me all in ones. No, you bring me ones. I'm giving you ones, right? And so if I can't talk to my friends, then you can't talk to your friends. And I'm talking about you need to tell her right now or we don't
Right.
move forward. Right, Rebecca?
Right.
Right?
And he
You
didn't
need
do
to
it.
text her right now. You ain't
He
do
was
it right now,
no, he
right?
was just like, well, I gotta handle her. And I said, and me too. Like, what
Hmm.
makes you think that you know how to deal with your friend in the way you need to, but you think I don't? Like, that makes no sense to me. So I'm on the fence a little bit about this relationship. I like the guy. I feel like he's a perfect guy, but do I feel like he's trying to be like very like don't like ice?
Say
I
it.
feel
No,
like
say
he's
the word. Say the
okay.
word.
I feel like he's trying to isolate me, control me, like, and I don't know why, because I don't, my friends, I have good friends. Like, I'm not doing nothing with my friends, but my friends are my friends, and I feel like he wants to isolate me all to himself.
Hmm.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know.
I think the other thing. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Did you want to go ahead, Golden?
Go ahead with yours. I'll speak after you.
I just, I to me now understanding a little bit more because unfortunately that was a time in my life in like 2012 to 2014 where I was afraid of being alone and this and that. I mean, he's a great person. We're still friends to this day. This particular gentleman, he realizes, the mistakes and stuff, but unfortunately, because he was so eager to be married and in a relationship, we sort of kind of walked away from each other, just no argument, no nothing, no, it was just out of frustration. And he immediately married someone else that he knew before me and is in a state of hell. And but I'm like, listen, this lessons learned, and maybe that's what God needed you to do, because he found his way to his calling and is now a minister, which he was running from when he was with me, because he was so daggone focused on me that he didn't wasn't focused on God and his faith walk, his own walk. But I think that when that's a red flag when someone wants to put such boundaries. I think that we have to have clear, distinctive, there are boundaries, of course, that you're going to have in a relationship, no doubt. But to pressure someone, you either you there are trust factors in that individual themselves, because I know very loving, committed, amazing couples who have such respect for their mate. My dad and my stepmother, and I have two stepmothers. One passed away, and otherwise they would still be together to this day. But when she passed away years later, my dad remarried. And my dad has such respect for his wife, and she has male friends, and he has female friends. But there's such a boundary and an understanding at who have in your spouse, and that you love and you honor them and you treasure them and you value who they are, and you have a sense of integrity, that you're not going to mess up this relationship. Because my stepmother asked my father, my dad is going to be 79, and that's cool running. I mean, my dad is fly. And so I she said to him, you're not jealous about my male friends and stuff, because she's a power businesswoman, worked for IBM 30 something years. She's now executive director of a nonprofit, big nonprofit in New York. And he's like, no. He was like, and he's retired, he's like, no, because she's much younger. She's in her late 60s, mid 60s, maybe. And he's like, no. He's like, if you don't know what you got here, then you need to pack your stuff and go. You didn't never belong here,
Wow, I like that. That's
Yeah,
powerful. I like
that
that.
is.
you know? So you take it, Golden.
I think that a lot of people miss the point about being vulnerable, because vulnerability is the understanding of trust. I
Right.
trust you, you trust me. And a lot of times people are very uncomfortable being vulnerable. And that will bring on and the it will happen because people feel that they have to protect themselves. They have to protect their heart. They have to protect their fears or being rejected.
Mm,
And so people who understand that there is healthy ways to be vulnerable and there's also unhealthy ways.
right.
And one of the unhealthy ways is control.
Oh, yes.
That's a big one. Well, if you do this, then I will do that. Yeah, we all have to compromise. But are you being trustworthy? Are you being honest? Are you truly showing your true self where I can become vulnerable with you? And so, reinforcing, not being judged, and that's another one. We often judge. We are human, God made imperfect people, and we judge. And so when someone feels like they're being judged, they're going to shut down. They're going to put these
Yes,
boxes.
exactly.
And so, but if you think about vulnerability, and what I always thought that it increases, it helps. It's a place of innovation, it's a place of compromise, and it's a place to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
But the largest factor is trusting each other. How can I trust you?
And
I
I
think
agree. And
people miss that mark.
yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I just think that that is his personal issue, but it's his issue because I never in my, I know I'm a trustworthy person. I never gave him no reason not to. I trust him like, but I just feel like if a person do say they're going to put me under all of this scrutiny and want me to do this, then it's reciprocity. That's it's not tit for tat. I just feel like it's got to be reciprocity. But it's like I allowed, and you guys, please don't judge me. I allowed him to put cameras outside of my home, like my front door, my back door, and my floodlights. And for some reason, I feel like he got access. I can't prove it, but I think that he got access to those cameras. So to
Do
me,
you think that's part of his controlling behavior? Because if you feel he has access, then that's unhealthy.
yes,
That's very
I'm not
unhealthy.
sure that he has access, but
Mhm.
I feel that he do, but I'm not sure because when I asked, it's like no. But then when somebody came over, he like called me soon as like within 5 minutes of the person coming over.
Mm.
So that's what made me think in a manner that he might have access to what he was asking me to put, which he said when he's out of town, he just he want to feel protected that nothing happens to me while I'm in my home. And that was the reason for him to put those up because if something happened to me and I didn't allow him to put those cameras up, then he's going to feel a certain type of way. So that's why I allow him because I was like, I've been in here for 13 years and I'm fine. Like, I didn't have no cameras and I'm good. But I allow him to stay because we're in a committed relationship. And when he's away, he want to feel that I'm safe.
But you
And in order
trust.
for him to do that is he has to be able to see you. And in order for him to see you, he has access to the cameras, right?
I don't know.
No,
I
no,
don't.
no. Let's look at that because in order for me to be away and know that you're safe, right? And to be able to know that you're safe, I have to be able to look in. I have to have access to you at every moment because otherwise you're safe unless I pick up the phone. Unless the moment you become unsafe and I'm out of town, I can't even come get you.
Right.
My mom don't even know where you live. My cousin don't know where you live. Man, so for me to have to know where you are so that you're okay in a situation, in an emergent situation, that I can't get to you and provide CPR, right? You are more than 10 minutes away. Brain death happens in 6 minutes. So why do you need to have these cameras up for a situation that you can't even be there for me?
Right.
Do the cameras make you feel uncomfortable?
They
Or
don't
do
make
you?
me. It's to me. It's not the cameras because like we already. Okay, so here's the situation. He doesn't want me in here anymore in my house anyways. He wanted me to move in, right? So it was like I was supposed to be moving in July anyway. So to me, you put cameras up here, but I'm moving in your house in July. So you know, I don't know. He's not gonna see nothing. Even if he was looking for something, he's never gonna see nothing. But the thing is, I've been in my house and I've been on my own for a long time. And then he got cameras like Fort Knox. So which means to me that he really got a problem with trust, because he was like, well, when you move in here, the problem that I'm having, that I'm like, maybe I should get away from this, is because I'm like, I've been in my house. I have contractors coming in my house. I'm a single lady. If I need some repairs, the repair people gonna come in here. That's what we do. So he was like, no one is allowed to come in my house, like no repair person, no nothing. If I'm not there, they do not come in my sanctuary, my place of peace, because I don't even want to think something is going to happen. Like I don't even want to assume that you guys are talking about something else, because if I come in the door, I'm only going to see one of y'all. I can't see what the other person is saying.
Mm.
So to me, I'm like, I've never, in all the relationships I was in, now that takes away vulnerability for me, because now I'm like, wow, like I don't even know what to say. So of course I don't feel like I can be 100% vulnerable, because you're saying nobody can come in here, not even in an emergency, just have them sit outside. And then he was like, I'm a private person. I'm 62. I've been this way all my life. My exes respected my decisions. And I'm like, that's a hard pill to swallow for me. Like, I don't know, because I just don't know. Like, I can say that, huh? Hello?
Well, yeah, I'm here. What I was gonna say is he's right. His exes have respected his position, right? And they left him.
Yeah, maybe that's why they're exes.
So, I don't know. So that was the only thing that I saw. But outside of that, like, I can't believe that this great guy would just this aspect, and he's not gonna change. I do know that. That's it. He already told me, like, he's never gonna change on none of that.
Well, changing is a big part of vulnerability.
Hmm.
Changing and compromise and innovation, just being very creative. And if you have a partner that is unable to change for whatever reason, then you possibly should expect unhealthy reasoning and understand that the person may have trust issues.
And I know how. I mean, for me, for somebody to go to that extreme, I already see that. But I don't think there's nothing that I can do to make it better. Like, I mean, it's nothing I can do to change that. Like, I already know, you know.
So you Golden, you said that there were unhealthy what? You used the word unhealthy about what? Unhealthy
Oh,
reasoning?
right. There, you have to understand that there are some healthy and unhealthy ways of vulnerability.
Right. And so in this particular case, it's possible that because he's not going to change, that it's going to it has the potential to create unhealthy vulnerable moments for her.
Right. It has the potential to have conflict, unreasonable conflicts. And so if you cannot come together and be present and open and communicate these areas that you're having difficulties with, and you're saying, well, let's talk about this, and the person refuses to talk about it or refuses to say, okay, let's talk about it, let's compromise. If they are not willing to compromise, then what are you to do? You have to make some decisions. Is this person for me? Because we all know that being vulnerable in many cases is uncomfortable for most of us.
Right.
That's to be expected. But when you are in a relationship, it has to be both parties involved. It can't be one side. It can't be someone making all of the decisions. Sometimes one party does have to make some decisions, but you come together, and if you are in a situation where it's just there's no compromising, there's no reason for discussion, then you have to decide, well, maybe this relationship isn't for me, or maybe we can go to couples therapy. Is he willing to try something like that?
He's a very logical person, like thinker, just logical, want to go deep on anything that like he has to look in your eyes when he's talking on subject matters that matters. Like he don't want to text, he doesn't want to talk on the phone because he like to just keep why, and that's okay because that's the only way you're going to get to the bottom of things. But because I am a communicator and very analytical myself, I've already tried this. Like I already had discussions to try to figure that portion out. Like why? And he just was like, that's my sanctuary, that's my peace. And I don't never want to be put in a position where I feel like my peace is disturbed. And and he was like, and I don't want you on your end to ever put he was like, I will never put you in a position to think anything about anything, and I don't want you to ever put me in a position. So therefore you should think about your partner with any decisions you're making, and I should think about my partner with any decisions I'm making, and just in that manner there won't be no he feel like there won't be no nothing to ever get in an argument or have a discussion about, because he feel like he's protecting his peace or I'm protecting his peace, and we both protecting the peace in that situation as it relates to not having nobody in there when he's not there.
So, may I suggest something?
Okay.
Um, have you heard of red flag, green flag?
Not red flag, green flag like that. No.
I call it red flag, green flag. So it's creating a list of um, of your partner that may give you a sense that the green flag, it's a list of good things, like how I feel and they make me feel, I feel safe with them, I trust them, blah blah blah. And then there's a red flag section. the things that you are uncomfortable about, the things that you feel that he just will not move on, things that do not allow you to be safe. So you make this list of red things and green things. And you look at it and you kind of balance those things out. And you look at the red side and you ask yourself, can I live with this person? Do I trust this person? And then
I
you look at the green side and you balance the green side out, the great aspect. But at the end of it, you ask yourself, is this a situation that is right for me? Because at the end of the day, only you can make that decision.
right.
And
So
so it's
here's
give
the
or take.
question, right, that I have. If you knew that a car had no brakes, and this is I'm saying the no brakes thing is because he said he's not changing, right?
Not on that
Yeah. Not
aspect.
on that aspect. And so right now we're getting in a car with no brakes. Are you comfortable with riding in a car with no brakes? That was a question.
I know. It's just that, like
No,
I
no.
told him, I've never put boundaries. I understand when you have a mate. What I'm trying not to do is make it all about me because I was with myself and I understand the things that I did on my own and I was okay with it. But then when you have a mate, and your mate is different have different views from what you have, but he feel like it's protecting the peace. I mean, should not I mean, there's compromise too. If all of these things are great, but to me, whatever he's thinking anyway was never going to happen for me. So can I just go ahead and compromise with that? Because that doesn't, for him saying that bothers me, but the situation don't bother me because I would never have put him in that situation anyway.
No, so let's look at this part right here, right? When you say that the situation bothers you, right? In order for you, if there's something that bothers you, right? Because watch this, we have cognitive intimacy, which is sharing thoughts and feelings, right? At the bottom, where the safety need is, right? The safety and vulnerability is at the cognitive level. And then we have the emotional intimacy, right? That happens once that safety need has been fulfilled, right? And then above the safety need, I mean the emotional need, the emotional intimacy is sexual intimacy, which is at the top, right? And so if this safety need is not being met, the cognitive intimacy in a reciprocal relationship, if that isn't being met, then here's the question: how is it do we advance to sexual intimacy when we know that this emotional need is not being met because I don't feel comfortable, right? And then I don't feel safe, and you're not moving, you're not willing to collaborate with me, and again, I don't and first of all, I'm going to say this here: how you feel is right. How you feel about your house, how do you feel about Rebecca's life, how you feel about um sitting in your car is right. How you feel about him putting cameras on your house is right, period. No one can tell you that you shouldn't feel that way. No, you pay the mortgage, and you've been there for 13 years with no break-ins.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, I cannot when you're alone, you think when you're single, you think single, right? When you're in a relationship, you got to think us. I can't think single-minded Rebecca. Single-minded Rebecca would agree with that. But if I'm in a relationship with a mate who truly cares about me and my well-being, and he spent his money, I didn't spend my money, but But when I scan the codes. He didn't scan the codes. So that's why I say I don't really know, because every time he put something up, I scan the codes with my phone to put those things. But if it's a partnership, I have to respect how he feels too. I can't just be like Rebecca. It doesn't work that way anymore when you're in a partnership. And as far as, something being done to the house, it's like that's a scenario that hasn't even happened. Like, okay, I understand. So for me, this is what he don't want to happen. Then this is not what's gonna happen. I can respect, that. Like, I'm not gonna do that. But the only fear, then it comes to me, only thing is, well, if he's feeling that way like that, if we have people over, do I have to put my eyes to the kitchen? Because do you think people going to be, because I haven't seen that level to understand how he will operate on that level. So that's probably all the things that he said I haven't seen, or being around other people, or seeing if he say something about, like, I haven't gotten there yet to know that part. But from what he's saying, I'm feeling that that part will be there. Not really knowing, but feeling it.
Mhm. Have you taken him to any family functions, friends, events with you so far?
No, 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 no. I haven't had any.
You got any coming up soon?
No, we done been on vacation. Like, everything is us, us, us. It's like
Yeah, I would
us.
be curious to see how he is around your community, your extended family. I would want to see how he interacts if there's a gentleman it could be a family member who comes over to you and gives you a hug and says hello. Like, what is his response going to be? Um, because it's given off a couple different things. It could be that he's an older gentleman, he's sort of set in his ways, and he's used to being a caretaker and has that kind of mentality. And and in this day and age, the world is a little scary. And maybe, I don't know, has he been married? Is he always like is he a relationship kind of guy?
Yeah,
um
he's a relationship. His first marriage was, I want to say, 22 years, and his second marriage was 10.
Mm, okay. Okay.
Have you been around his family? Have you
His
seen him interact?
he's actually from Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn,
And I
Brooklyn.
live in Simpsonville, South Carolina. And most of his family, like, he has no family here either. His job brought him here. So most of his family is in New York or Massachusetts or DC or Connecticut.
Y'all might need to make a family excursion, a trip.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And you're supposed to move in with him in July?
Supposed to now. I don't, after, that conversation that we had in Myrtle, we was to Myrtle Beach this weekend. And, like I said, you have to, I was in that uncomfortable space, but I didn't want to be Rebecca, like move like Rebecca moved, because Rebecca, I would have just went home. But I worked through the situation of being, let's talk. We got these chairs, and we can tell each other anything. And I'm telling you, it took me like 6 hours to feel good, because if I don't feel good, I don't feel no connection, then I gotta go. But because I was able to sit there and we talked through everything. And then he was like, okay, I did this. Then he did all the things. And he told me later, like, I did this and I did this. Just want you to know. So after all the discussions we had on what his expectations was of me, and he wasn't on it, he turned around. I guess he slept on it, and he turned around and did the same thing, that he was asking me to do. You know what I mean? And it wasn't that I wanted him to do that. I just felt like we both are adults. I'm 50 something, you're 60 something. I'm good with how I handle my business. You good with how you handle your business. And I don't even see how this is an issue, except for he is the one who gotta have trust issues. Like you said, I don't know what happened in his life to make him be that way, but I know that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
S-
Mm-hmm.
So let me say this here, right? Um, what would what like there's a saying, when someone show you themselves, believe it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
The
so
first
the
time.
thing, right, the first time, right, and then so when you everything that you say that he's not doing or trying not to do, or not, he's not being this way, he's being that way. And because you can say that he's loving, he's admirable, he's honest, he's trustworthy, he's sufficient, he's committed, he's bashful, you can say all those things. So he's energetic, he's attentive, you can say those things. But the mere fact that you're saying that he's not doing this is what he is doing. And so I want you to write those down so that you know this is what he is doing. And when you're seeing it on paper, you can say, oh my gosh, he's being X, Y, and Z. Because you could say he's being forthcoming, he's being seen, he's being active, he's being attentive. The mere fact that that thought came up and you said he's not doing that, that's what he's doing. And write that down, and then you can investigate that.
Yeah. I think like Legacy say, I need to be in an environment
Mm-hmm.
where I'm around intermingling with people and guys and see how he act, because that I feel like I need to do that before I think about doing any moving.
Mm-hmm. Because you need to be able to see him in various environments. Even
Mhm.
if you could take him out, or are you two both down south now?
We live like 20 minutes, and I was like, he went and brought me a promise to marry ring within 3 months, 3 weeks of us knowing each other. He spent $3,000 on this ring. It's just a band.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I would find some kind of like community event, social kind of thing. Maybe there's like like here in Charlotte we have these at the museum, they have these after dark networking kind of socials, and everybody is looking oh so good, and singles, couples,
Oh, yeah.
and I would be very curious to see and tell them this is something that you would like to do. You
Mhm.
like art. And it doesn't have to be art. It could be a community event. It could be a community street festival. But
Mhm.
the reason why I like the more intimate kind of, if you can find something like that where you live, where it's some kind of like networking after work with, professionals, and I would be very curious to see when he sees other people suited and booted, you looking good, other people looking good. And if he backs away, first of all, one, if he backs away from going, that's a telltale sign. If he, and granted, it may not be his cup of tea, but I'm very big on, if you love me or care about me, I'm going to step out of my comfort zone at times to do things because that's not a big deal. I didn't ask you to go bungee jumping, parasailing, whitewater rafting, something dangerous. I'm asking you to come to a social, event and engage, or it could even be something professional within your industry that you might, ask him to come to some kind of, whatever social, and just watch how he engages and watch how he sees you interact with other men, colleagues, um, or just the fact that there are other good looking men around. I would be curious to see if he's very uncomfortable, if his demeanor shifts, and if you can't do that, then I either want to go to something of his family's, because I need to see the peoples. Okay, I
I
need to
think
understand what
I
family you
could
came
have
from.
swore they said they was looking for it because he told them about me. He told his
Mhm.
son, his daughter, his brothers, his sisters, everybody because they got pictures of me. He showed me messages that they say they can't wait to meet me. But to your point, Legacy, like if I say anywhere I say I want to go, he ready. Like he takes
Mhm.
me. But he told me he did tell me this particular thing. We went to this nice jazz place, and I got
Okay.
dressed up, and I had and I know my dress was nice. It was may have been sexy, but it was classy, not sexy and
Mhm.
sleazy. And so, we were at his house and he was like, well, I was something I didn't tell you, but it was, I feel like I need to tell you. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, cause we said we'll tell each other everything. Like, I'm not going to keep nothing from you. So anyway, make a long story short, he was like, when we was listening to the music, he was like, this guy I'm looking and this guy he's looking at you. And then I'm like, and then he said, so he was like, I kind of waved my hand at the guy and he didn't catch the point and he's just looking at you. And he said, so yeah, he said, you might not remember, but I kind of took the menu and I kind of put it over the top of your outfit and I stuck my finger up at the guy. And I'm like,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
he was like, and then the guy, he said he finally got it. He was like, I stuck two fingers, and then he just was like, well, you like, I say, no, let's be clear, sweetie, because I said I own a lot of things, but I do know they're not sleazy. They're classy and they're sexy. And I said, I don't even know what you're talking about because the dress that I had on is the dress that I sent you a picture. That's on your desk in your office. I walk in your office, that's the picture. So I just don't understand. I said, I wear nice stuff. I have a good shape. I'm not trying to, really show nothing. But if I find stuff that I like, then I'm going to wear it. Either you like it or you don't, but you don't buy my clothes. So, but yeah, he told me he did that to the guy. He stuck his fingers up at the guy. And to him, he know that I'm not looking for attention because I'm not one of them people who look and be waving. But like I told him, most places that we go, I am unique in what I put together. And people, all white people, I don't care who they are. We was at Myrtle Beach. We be in the whatever store. People always walk up to me with him there and they like, you look really, really nice. I like this. And so I said, you're gonna get that. So that's just something you're going to have to deal with. I'm not seeking attention. It's just my level of detail and how I do certain things that I've always drawn people to me. But besides that, when the other people come up to me and say something, it seems like it strokes his ego, honestly.
I I So, what did you ask him any questions as to what was it about? Like, did he think this guy was going to come over and try to get your number, talk to you on the sly if you step to the ladies' room, that you might zip out the side door with this man? what was his thoughts about this whole thing, that this man had put eyes on you? He didn't talk to you, he didn't touch you, he didn't bump into you, he looked at you from across the room.
He said that when he go places, he wants to be able to enjoy where we're at without, feeling like, man, why you keep looking at her? Like, why you?
So what?
It's okay to look, but
Right.
just the stare. He said he felt like that was rude. That the guy just kept staring, and wouldn't just stop staring. But I'm like, you can't control enough. Why are you even looking at this guy? Why you not paying attention to what we got going on the stage? Like, I just didn't even understand. I never seen. I wasn't looking at the guy. I don't even know that the guy was looking at me. He was focused on the guy, but he just was kind of like, well, And I was like, let me just be clear, sir. It doesn't matter. I can wear a dress that's covered everything all the way down to the ground. If you put yourself together, people still gonna look at you. So it had nothing to do with that. So I was trying to explain that to him, because it doesn't. Because again, every time I go places and I've been with him, people have just come up randomly all the way across the room. Honest to God, I'm not even paying attention, and tap me on my shoulder and say something why he was there. But I didn't see him get offended by that. But I just think he keep me under close watch and key, and just look and see if my eyes wander. But I don't wander, but I think that's, the more I don't, I'm hoping he'll feel more comfortable. But I can't say he will or he ain't, because he's his own individual person, and I can't worry about what he do. I'm just worried about what I do.
Mhm. Franklin, we need a man's
Yes,
response
I.
here.
Oh, but so um, I the part that I am sort of wanting to look at is going back to, how do you feel? Do you think that these things are normal? Have you encountered this type of behavior before?
I mean, I wouldn't have known he did the bird things if he wouldn't have told me, because I honestly, I wasn't even, I don't pay attention. Like, that's me. Whatever I'm focusing on and I'm having a good time, I wasn't even paying attention that he wasn't paying attention.
No, no, I'm not talking about. Yes, Rebecca, you're a beautiful woman. You take care of yourself. I get all of those things, right? You have a nice personality, and you dress classy. So we got all of those things, and so because you're not you're a beautiful woman, right? That's going to naturally attract attention from most people, right?
Right.
Right? That's something that you can't control.
Right. And he knows this.
And but the thing is that when you dress up, you are dressing to be in your best space, right?
Right.
To feel the best that you possibly can be, right?
Right.
Right? You want to, when you put your clothes on, you're wanting to be the best version of Rebecca, right?
Yes.
Right, right. And so to now to say that I don't want you to dress like that. What do you think that that does to Rebecca?
Well, first of all, I'm going to continue to dress the way Rebecca dresses. Right?
But
I'm not going to change the way I dress to appease anybody, cuz again, like I told him, if that dress wasn't a certain aspect, it wouldn't be the picture that you got facing your computer.
right,
It's the
so
picture
so
you
so let
got
so let
facing your computer.
hold on. I got this question. Hold on. I got this question. Hold on. So if we know that when the different clothes takes away from Rebecca, so do you think that he's interested in seeing the best of Rebecca or the less of Rebecca?
I would hope, like if I, like when we get dressed or I get dressed, I mean, it seemed like he is proud to be. He doesn't say nothing like when I get dressed. Now, what he's thinking, or maybe he like, I don't want to push her too fast. I don't want to tell her something because she got her own house. She probably gonna run away. I don't know what he's thinking. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I get in the house, is it gonna change? Like, is he gonna really be like, now that no, you can't wear, because I'm not in his house. So I
Right.
think he's careful how he move because I haven't moved in. Now, if I move in and rent my house out, like I don't know how he really gonna act because I'm not physically staying there.
So I have a scenario. True story. I was dating someone. Yes, I dated before I married my late husband. um, and he was smart, funny, just great. We would go out, have a great time, and he would always, tell me how great I looked. You just take such great care of yourself, blah, blah, blah. Well, I noticed that when we would go out, if it was dinner, if it was to a concert, if it was to the ballet or wherever, he would always find something that would create friction between us because he was always asking me, do you know that guy? And I'm looking around like, what guy? That guy over there, because he keeps looking at you.
Mhm.
And I would say to him, I've never seen that man in my life before. I can't control people's eyes. Um, we would go dancing, and I remember coming out of the bathroom, and this guy had stepped out, and I had put my hand up and I said, I'm with someone. So I get back to the table, and he says to me, oh, you know him? And I said, no. The man asked me to dance, and I told him I was with someone. So I noticed those behaviors, and I noticed those behaviors even when I was around my family. It's like he wanted me all to himself all of the time.
Yes.
He did not want me to share. And I was living in DC, and he was living in Florida. So we would go back and forth to visit. And so one uh, holiday, I believe it was either Christmas or Thanksgiving, I just couldn't take it anymore. I felt that his ways, his behavior was controlling, and that if I stayed in that relationship, this is what I'm going to get. And so I told myself that I couldn't stay with him, and I didn't. And I made my exit. I went back to DC, and I decided I would never go back because I could see that it would escalate into something as far as, and I would even go as far as domestic violence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. I don't think he would ever do that. I'm just saying because of the position, and I know people in high positions do that, but like I was in the military, and the day before he got on the plane, I was holding his AK-47, looking out the window with the scope, and he was afraid. He was like, could you please? He was like, I don't shoot to kill. I say I do, because that's how I'm trained. Like, I don't buy guns and somebody break in and we like, let's talk about it. No, I shoot one shot, one kill. And he was the one who was afraid. He was like, I would rather just say, get out, I'm armed. And I'm like, well, I would rather say you knew that when you cross that door. So whether you live or you die, you made that choice once you entered the house. So he was afraid of me because of that. So I don't know.
So it's safe to say that Rebecca has a weapon.
I do have a
Okay.
360 PK.
Right. Okay. And so now that we know that Rebecca has a weapon and she shoots to kill, and there's one shot, one kill,
Yes.
we can say that there is no need for cameras because Rebecca is going to handle her business.
Well, he said that the camera is for I can get in a safe space before the intruder so I can know that the intruder is coming instead of me being upstairs with a gun and not knowing he's coming and I'm waiting to the last minute to try to take care of the guy. So I proposed that to him as well, Franklin, and that was his comeback. I just want you to
Okay.
be able to get in a safe space.
Do you
Okay.
have a house alarm?
No, I do not have a house alarm. Just the well, now with the front cameras and the back cameras, it chimes anytime somebody it take pictures, it chimes when somebody walk by. It just let me know every time some type of movement is at the back door, at the front door, or on the street because he put the flood the a big camera up by my garage as well.
May I ask? I just want to ask you a question. So he thought the cameras were very important for your safety,
Yes.
but did he speak about having an alarm put on the house, on your windows, on your doors, to have that extra protection for your
Mm,
safety?
no, because he just put that up. And honestly, I was supposed to be moving in with him in July. And I'm like, the renters probably are not good. I don't know how they're going to appreciate. I don't even know if they're going to appreciate the cameras. You know what I mean? Because if once I empty this house, whoever rents this house is going to be their choice on what they want to do.
Mm. Well, there's nothing wrong with house alarms. I wholeheartedly. I have cameras and I have an alarm for my home because I'm here by myself and because I want that safety and protection, and I can go on my phone and look at who's walking around my backyard or who's in my lake or whomever. But just having that extra security is
Mhm.
always good for a single woman, not only cameras.
Right.
Yes.
And so when you put those cameras up, Golden, that's because you were moving to a new neighborhood, correct?
Yeah, after the house was
Okay.
built,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. Right, right, right. So
Always
so
had
so
cameras
Rebecca
in
hasn't been there 13 years,
the house. Mhm.
right? So there's a difference, right? Rebecca lives in a safe neighborhood, right? Like you say Simpsonville, right? Right?
Yeah.
Crime
Yeah.
is low in that area, right? And so for that to be a need, an urgent, immediate need, um, and Rebecca hasn't had any crime in her neighborhood, is the concern that I'm presenting. That if it hasn't happened in 13 years, we're talking about the violence, we're talking about the safety, we're talking about the mere fact that she hadn't even pulled the trigger in her gun she hadn't even pulled a gun out in 12 years, right? Because those things haven't happened, and they're not going to happen because is there a Harris Teeter in your area?
No,
Public.
there's no Harris Teeter in my area.
But my point of it is you're in when you if you can say the safety of your area, would you between 1 to 10, what would you register it as?
Well, now that they're building downtown, which we never Malden downtown, right from my subdivision, that might put a little worry on me because we've never, that whole area used to be clear. Now it's going to be downtown Malden, right? So might I be like think like, okay, well, I never had this kind of m- people around me, us before in this neighborhood, and now, that may put a little damper on what I think. But as to what Golden said, I used to have an alarm system on my house, Franklin, when I first moved here. But there were situations like I'll be in my car and I don't know, the wind, the garage or whatever, and then I'm trying to answer the police and tell them ain't nothing going on. Then I get to the house and the police banging on my door, and so I kind of removed the alarm because I was having a lot of false situations that were just was causing me a lot of headaches. So that's why I had originally removed the alarm from my house.
How long
So,
have you two been
Rebecca,
together again? I'm sorry, Golden.
that's okay.
Going on 3 months.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So the cameras, are they, I know Franklin had mentioned the need. Were the cameras his need or your need?
He told me it was his need
Hmm.
because we're a couple. He doesn't want to be out of town. And I said, I don't want the cameras. And then I'm dead. That's how he made it seem like something really bad happened to me. And he's really going to feel bad that I didn't have those cameras out there to see what's going on. Because sometimes I could be to his house and he'd be like, look at your cameras, see, because like I'll be to his house, but I have people in here working because like I just had 2 bathroom remodels, and then I could see like when we was in Myrtle Beach, they were working, and I could see like them, when they come, when they go, and stuff like that.
So Rebecca, can you give me that number and on the safety level of 1 to 10 in your neighborhood?
Franklin, why you keep? I would
No, no,
say my number is about a 9, but understand this: his
no,
number is a 10. He's in a gated community where you can't
right.
even get in
So
that community, and
right.
he got about 20
But
cameras.
the point is that where you are right now, and you've been at a 9 for the last 13 years. When they build that mall, you say it's gonna go down a little bit. So it's gonna go down to 8, right? And as an 8, the probability of you having someone come and even what is it, pick up the mail, you get a FedEx package. Have anybody ever pulled a FedEx package off your porch?
No.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that you don't even have anybody picking mail off of your doorstep, and you get stuff. How often you get stuff mailed and dropped off at your house?
I don't know. I'm getting some messages from people saying he's so sweet and all this in your chat
But right,
there.
no, it is sweet, right? It is sweet, but how much sugar do you have to put on for you to have a good dessert, right? So yeah, it's sweet, it's nice, it's cute. I understand. The point is, how do you feel comfortable with the extent of what he's doing? That's a
Yeah, I
yes
think
or
that's the
no.
important part. I
That's
think
the
that is.
important part.
To me,
It's
I
a
look
yes
at
or
it this
no.
way. To me, Franklin, and you said this, right? So I was just looking at it as, you know how they say happy wife, happy life, but I was like, if that makes my partner happy, then do it. Like it's neither here nor there for me, but I have to. When you're in a relationship, frankly, it's not about you no more, right? So if that make him happy, I'm like, and it made him happy. You know what I mean? So if he's happy, I'm happy, like
That's
that.
Well,
that's
I,
beautiful.
I,
Go
I,
ahead.
yeah, that is beautiful. But what I will say though, just to be dancing on the other side of the road, um, we also though still have to look at the now you're comfortable with it. I'm assuming so. That's fine. But for someone else, if they hear this podcast or something and they're seeing these things, and there is a level of uncomfortability, and if they had to go on a scale from 0 to 10 of how comfortable they feel about a new relationship, and the gentleman putting cameras and having some challenges with certain circumstances, they're out and about, or they don't he doesn't want to go out because he doesn't want to be out in public like that. It's like very secluded kind of thing. Then for another person hearing this, they should then question the motives. If you are on a low scale of not feeling comfortable about the actions of your mate, and especially in whether the newness or the oldness of a relationship, if you start to feel uncomfortable, then you need to evaluate the situation. You need to look at the circumstances, identify what is making you uncomfortable, and really have the deep conversation with them as to why they are uncomfortable, and putting specific parameters around. I'm not talking about you, Rebecca. I'm just saying in general
Mhm.
around the person, um, and because there may be insecurities, there may be some jealousy, there may be
Yeah.
things that could be a cautionary tell sign that something may not be right in Kansas. Okay, you know.
And
Yeah.
the other thing that you can ask, right? Because you have to ask, what happened to you that you're this way?
No, I just
No,
honestly.
no, I'm saying, but the thing is that what I'm saying is that to ask him what happened
Oh,
to
yeah.
you that you are this way, because
Exactly.
and that gives him that ability to say, well, when I was in third grade, somebody came and beat my mom, and I don't never want that to ever happen again. And we like, well, that's not gonna happen again. So but my point is, he got like that some way, and like one of the listeners was saying, being in a position where we can actually help him, right? Because again, ask him, what did something happen to you that caused you to be this way? And I think that will provide a conversation to deeper insight, where you can then provide an assurance to him that, hey, because you're feeling uncomfortable or you're feeling scared about this here, I have these things in place to help you to feel safer, that isn't going to happen with me because I'm 56 and I'm Rebecca.
Right.
But on the other hand, he may not know why he feels that way, or why he is that way. He may not understand because he's been doing it for such a long time. And I think Rebecca said earlier that he had told her that, his other wives didn't chastise him
Right.
or tell him. They listened to him and they went with it.
And
Yeah.
then they left.
Yeah, and then
Well,
they
I
left it,
don't know if he
but we don't
said
know
he
why.
he told me he initiated both divorces that they did not.
Okay.
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 Hmm.
So again, maybe you would want to address some things about how that situation makes you feel. And I'm not comfortable with this, or from my perspective, or when you did this, or you said this, or whatever. This is how it made me feel. And then maybe, you can start talking about his childhood. And I have no idea, but it's just a way of getting him to open up and possibly understand your point of view and how his behavior makes you feel.
Yes, true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
And
it's gonna have to go to that level, Golden, because I already asked him, like you said, the other stuff, like why, and like I said, we've had some deep conversation that I don't think I would have typically did if it wasn't for Franklin, because most people shut down. After a while, you shut down. And I didn't want to do that because I just know how great he is in other aspects. And I'm just like, let if this what we have to do to get past everything, then this is what we're gonna do. Because it's like I would say the 80-20 rule with him, I only see maybe 10% that's not good, but the other 90 is wonderful.
Okay, so if he said to you, I just want you, I don't want to be around your friends, I don't enjoy um going out, and yes, when other men look at you, it bothers me.
I don't, I would stay in my house. And I'll say we can date a little longer and it's probably gonna fall off because I'm not, because one thing I'm not do is I feel like when you meet really, really great people, like you really have a great support, great friends, people I'm not
Mhm.
gonna throw away my friends over somebody that can leave you today or tomorrow. And then you don't have your friends like Legacy said, and then you go call them, they like, nah, go back. No, you wasn't. No, go back to that guy who you was all into. What you calling me for? And I'm never gonna do good friends like that because I'm sure he got good friends. He just don't want to look at it that way. And if he can't get over it and accept me and compromise and see me for me and trust me, because that means you don't really have trust, right? And I didn't do that to you. I don't know who hurt you, who damaged you, but it wasn't me. And I'm not gonna let anybody impose their insecurities on me. Either you're whole or you're not. But I'm not going to be held accountable because I know I handle my own, been handle my own. I like all the other luxuries, but at the end of the day, I'm willing to give that up for my peace.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Now, when you were deciding to move, you're still keeping your place, right?
Yes, I was just gonna rent my place out, and
Mm-hmm.
then if things move forward, like if we eventually would have gotten married, which I foresaw that in the future, I would have we what we said was we were gonna do a prenup anyways, like what he had when he came into it and what I had when I came into it is mine, and any proceeds is mine. And then I already said that I was gonna like we discussed like we would get like a property like a beachfront property, but however wherever I wanted the other property, but it'll be if in the unforeseen for circumstances that we divorce like the others, then we was gonna put in there that I still have that house and he has the house that I was moving into,
Mm.
like
Okay.
that. So I was never gonna, give away everything I have, especially, when I know what happened between the other two. I was definitely gonna make myself still feel secure and not take my money and just squander it, like no. And cause he got everything, like he doesn't need anything. He really don't. He don't need one thing from me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you just have to, determine if how he shows up in these things. Like, in general, like you stated, he's loving, he's kind. You guys get along, you have a great time. You vacation, and you do things. Um, but I would definitely want to. I have this. I need to meet the peoples. I'm sorry. I got to meet the family, some friends. I need to know who's in your circle, if they have kids. Like, I'm not marrying anyone whose children. I don't care if they're grown kids. I have not met, and you need to meet mine. I have one child. You need to meet my daughter because she has a very discerning eye. You need to meet my peoples so that everybody's got their eye on you to just discern if they're picking up some things. And I've brought, in the past, I have brought, gentlemen I've dated around, and I had one in particular, I thought he was possibly going to be it. But there was just something that wasn't sitting right with me. I just couldn't put my finger on it. Well, unbeknownst to me, even though I went away with his family. I spent a lot of time every Sunday eating dinner with them. I spent a lot of time with him. Um, Unbeknownst to me, I was the side chick. I wasn't even the girlfriend. He had a whole girl, and I was like, what? Like 7 months later, I found out. And I did my little reconnaissance, what they call it in the military,
Reconnaissance.
reconnaissance, and just started collecting my data, putting it on the shelf. And then when I had everything I needed,
So,
I
Rebecca, can I make a suggestion?
what? Excuse me, Mister Champion,
Oh,
you cut me off.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go on mute.
I, I, I um. I finally just I showed up to a Sunday dinner, which I hadn't been to in about 2 or 3 weeks, and I acted like normal, and then he was nervous because he was like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" I thought she was mad at me, and then I had a good time with with the family and like normal. He went into the living room, and then when with my people that I was close to, we all got ready to leave, and then I really came very aggressively professional and told the family why I wasn't coming back, and and just was very clear at how hurt I was because he had the whole family in a lie. They all knew because they all went to the same church, and and he to this day, um he doesn't understand. He's tried to come back numerous times because in his mind he felt that I was supposed to be okay with the situation because he was more serious with me than he was with her because he knows his mother doesn't want him to marry her, and his mother is the queen. And I said, no. I said, even if you didn't have a girlfriend, you and I couldn't be together because your mother is the queen. And when your mother passes, your sister will be the queen. And I said, and I'm second to no one. If I'm your wife, I'm going to be your wife, and I'm going to be the primary. And I said, so that's not going to work. That's not going to work for me. And I'm definitely not going to sit back and know that you have someone and try to entertain you as my what? I'm your mistress because you have someone. I mean, granted, you're not married to her, but I'm not going to sit by and be in a relationship with you and hope that you pick me over her. No, sir, no, thank you. And he gets mad, and I because I shut down and I don't speak to him, and then he waits a year or two, and then he'll pop back up, which he's done numerous times. And I'm like, you can pop back up all you want. Do you have a girlfriend? Okay, thank you, bye bye. And so I think that we just have to be very honest with ourselves, with the behaviors that people display, with what we can manage and handle and tolerate. And do you just want to tolerate it, or do you want to, because well, your relationship is still very new. It's very, very new. And not to say that and there's anything wrong with that, because my stepsisters godparents, they knew each other 2 weeks and got married and were married. I mean, to this, they could be married to this day. I don't know. She would have been 55 when she passed away. We lost contact with her godparents, but you just never know. But you also never know if new behaviors are going to appear that you have not witnessed yet, because
Yeah,
the
I'm
relationship is
sure.
very new.
And you're right, Legacy. Yes, I'm sure there's, I mean, because we've already had friction, which I'm glad we had it because we needed to know how we deal with it, or will we get through it, or would, how we react and how we communicate and how we get through issues. So that's good to learn that head on at the beginning to me. I mean, didn't want to be thrown in scenarios, but those scenarios let me know that at the end of the day, we are fine. Like we are great again. Like we are great right now. So those just were the things, just that little thing but again, I got to look at the 80/20. It's always going to be, we are imperfect people, and there you got to just decide, is whatever that imperfection something you can live with or not.
So can I make a suggestion, Rebecca?
Hmm.
That you wait about 6 months before you clean your house out and rent your house out.
Yeah,
Um,
I can do that too.
yeah, just because if something happens and it goes south, where can you go?
I would have to, Franklin. I do make good money. I will
Yeah.
rent.
N-
I will rent a 1 bedroom because I don't even need. I don't even need the house I have. Honestly, you know what
And
I mean.
and that's
So I'm
and
not
that's
gonna kick
perfect.
them out of. I'm not gonna kick the renters out. I would just give me a 1 bedroom somewhere and just live in it.
And so going back to the question then, how long would it take you to get an apartment?
Not that long. I
Will
don't
it
think
take
it
you
takes
you
you
can get
that
an
long.
apartment within 24 hours and be in a
You can
safe
get it.
space?
I think you can get it within you go and apply for it. If they got an opening and your credit is good, you can move.
That
Have you
that
ever
but
heard
that
of a
but if
person
a
you can't
situation
move?
happens, my point is this, Rebecca, that
Okay.
when you pull all the stuff out of your house, right, you're going to burn your boat.
Mm-hmm.
And when you burn your boat and you're on that island, it's going to be a long time before somebody comes to that island to get you off.
Well, look at what Legacy said. She said that her who was it, Legacy, and they only knew each other for 2 weeks, and they still married to this day.
Yes, my
And,
stepsister's
Okay, so
godparents.
Franklin,
but they
you
didn't
can't.
have internet. They didn't have internet. So they ain't have Facebook, they ain't have Instagram, they ain't have any of that. So yeah, they went in blind and they didn't have all that, and they stayed together because that's all they knew.
Well, you know what, Franklin, though, too, I wouldn't say necessarily that it would be a burnt boat because as long as it would be a burnt boat if she didn't have the financial capacity to go stay in a hotel for a week until she gets an
Right,
apartment or
right.
whatever time frame or get an Airbnb for a month. You know, if
Right,
she has the financial wherewithal to make moves, then the boat isn't burnt. She just might have to, you know, she might just have to wave down the coast guards to get to the shore. I no, I'm just teasing. No, she has her own boat. She, as long as she has money in the bank and
right,
Hmm.
access to money, and that money doesn't get tapped into or have you, then she still has an out. You know, God willing, that she still
Beautiful.
has an out. And but if she didn't, that's when the boat is burnt
right,
because that's where
right.
people don't have an out and to be able to get out, and then they have to go by other means to really escape the situation.
Right. And I don't have that problem, Legacy.
Right.
So plan.
Beautiful. I love it. My thing is that when I suggest something, is either you going two things are going to happen. You something that you're going to want to do or not want to do, right?
Hmm.
And so my objective has been met to make sure that you have the information, that you have the scenario already played out, and in that way you know what you're gonna do. And I'm fine with that because at the end of the day, I'm here in my house,
Right. But Franklin, one day you might choose to bring somebody in there too now.
right? And you're absolutely right. The point that I'm sharing, Rebecca, is that you're an amazing woman, right? You are a loving, caring, compassionate woman, right? And someone should cherish you, and someone should be interested in helping you to feel safe, not you helping them feel safe, and it being in a reciprocal relationship, right? Reciprocity. If you're helping them to feel safe, they should be committed to helping you feel safe in the degree in which you feel safe, not the way that you need to compromise. Okay, you know what? I needed $30, but just give me the 12 and I'll be good to go. No, you needed the whole 30.
Mm.
And that's what we're saying is that reciprocity is non-negotiable. And if in order for you to be vulnerable in this relationship, that person has to be committed to helping you feel safe in the way in which that they are also looking at the 80-20. Or why can't we just do 100-100? Because or let's say 90 or 95. But my point of it is that vulnerability and reciprocity is mandatory. In order for you to have an intimate relationship, those things are important. Vulnerability is the gateway, is the birthplace for intimate relationships. And if you can't be vulnerable to say, I don't feel comfortable with this without an explanation, then we gotta look at the definition. We gotta look at, are we in an intimate relationship? Are you reciprocating? Are you committed to my safety? And if those answers aren't yes, 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 and yes, 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 then we don't have an intimate relationship, and we gotta then go back to the table and reestablish the integrity, because the integrity of the intimate relationship has been compromised. That's
Right.
all I'm saying.
Got it. Well, thank you, Legacy and Golden.
Yes,
And
thank you, everyone. We love you all. Thanks again, everyone. This has been an amazing show. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Golden, Legacy, and Rebecca. When you want to come back on the show, Rebecca, go ahead and schedule yourself to come on, and we're here, right?
And to the guests in the audience too.
Yes, and we want to thank absolutely 86 Bad Love. We had the governor here, and it's been great. Thank you all. I have a fantastic cast crew. Golden brought a very unique approach, and Legacy. Thank you again. This show would not be the same without both of you.
Let's go. They said I wouldn't make it, but I'm here now.
We're here right now, and I got Legacy and I got Golden here.
And I'm here to stay, never go down.
Right, and we're winning.
'Cause I'm a champion.
We're on our way to a whole nother level.
A champion.
Thank you all. I am
'Cause
so
I'm a
inspired.
champion. 'Cause I'm a champion. A champion.
And champions live with champions. Thank you all so much. Golden, Legacy, you all have touched my heart. And again, Rebecca, thank you for coming in and sharing and being vulnerable. I really do appreciate it. Yep. Thank you so much.
Let's go. They said I wouldn't make it, but I'm here now.
We're here. I'm here. Nobody thought we would be here.
And I'm here
Thank
to
you all
stay,
so
never
much.
go down.
Because we about to go.
'Cause I'm a champion.
Man, my heart is just swelling.
A champion. 'Cause I'm
Thank you,
a
Legacy.
champion. 'Cause I'm a champion. A champion.
Camp out. Remember, the sky's the limit. Don't stop on the moon. And you can do it.